July 25th, 1956. Amid a heavy fog, the luxury Italian ocean liner Andrea Doria is en route to her destination of New York City. On her radar is another ocean liner heading in the opposite direction. It is the Swedish-American liner Stockholm. Fully aware of one another, it is believed that the two ships will pass at a safe distance, though, as the fog breaks and the horrifying truth is revealed, it is already too late. During the early 1950s, to act as a sign of Italy's recovery from the toll of the Second World War, including a depletion to its merchant fleet, and also to restore a sense of pride to the country, two new ships were commissioned by the Italian line. One of the two ships was named Cristoforo Colombo, the other was named Andrea Doria. Whilst her sister ship was built to carry over 1,000 passengers, Andrea Doria, which held over 1,200, despite being smaller than some of Italian Line's previous ships, would, at the time of her launch, be Italy's largest. Described as the pride of Italy, and to have launched with much fanfare, the ship provided modern and futuristic luxury. Equipped with the latest technology, the vessel was poised to serve for decades. Andrea Doria boasted impressive social spaces, such as dining and ballrooms, as well as extravagant artworks throughout. There were enclosed promenades too, and outside deck space for all, complete with swimming pools. One other thing that these new ships were celebrated for was their safety. The Andrea Doria and her sister ship had hulls that were divided into 11 watertight compartments. Any two of these could be filled with water without endangering the ship's safety. Another safety precaution was that her lifeboats, of which she had enough, could be lowered at a maximum list of 20 degrees. No one was ever afraid to board the new flagship of the Italian line. Andrea Doria was the first of the two sister ships to set sail. Her maiden voyage came on January 14, 1953. She crossed the Atlantic to New York, before departing on January 30th on a 2-week Caribbean cruise. Upon her return, she then made her way back to Italy, and over the next few years, up until July 1956, the career of the Italian flagship would unfold with extreme regularity, and the Andrea Doria became a favourite with international transatlantic travellers. As well as her thousands of passengers, Andrea Doria also carried with her a piece of Italy. Through her beautiful design to her lavish, sprawling interiors, she represented all of those things that those who commissioned her and made her poured into her. She was a breathtaking symbol of national pride and Italian craftsmanship. Those who boarded in New York were, in a way, already abroad before they even set sail. Despite the safety measures that had been built into the ship, in July of 1956, something outside of Andrea Doria's design would bring a sudden and final halt to her journey. That something was the MS Stockholm. Built in Gothenburg, Sweden, and operated by the Swedish-American line, the relatively small passenger ship had continued to sail the transatlantic route since her maiden voyage in 1948. MS Stockholm had sailed out of New York earlier that day, en route to Gothenburg. She departed under a clear sky, but later that evening would come to encounter the thick fog in which the Andrea Doria was travelling. The two ships were aware of one another through radar, and both had their courses adjusted to pass by safely. This type of encounter was not uncommon in what was a busy shipping lane. However, it is stated that each mistook the other's actual course and mistakes were made reading radar, while the Swedish liner decided on the standard port-to-port pass. The Andrea Doria elected to pass on the starboard side. These course alterations, rather than creating conditions for a wide, safe passing, instead brought the two ships ever closer to one another. Then, just after 11 PM, as the fog was broken and the two ships finally caught sight of each other, disaster was inevitable. Stockholm's bow was crushed. The damage to the ship could have been worse, but its bow was strengthened and reinforced to deal with ice in the North Atlantic. As for the Andrea Doria, she took the full force of that reinforced hull as her starboard side was gouged open, revealing 7 of her 11 decks. Minutes later, she began to list on her starboard side. The ship's listing made it impossible to utilise the lifeboats on her port side. Though lifeboats were launched from the MS Stockholm, and soon other ships would answer Andrea Doria's SOS call. The rescue efforts were swift and effective. Over 1,600 people were safely returned to shore, with casualties of the collision totalling 51 lives lost, including 46 Andrea Doria passengers and 5 members of Stockholm's crew. Andrea Doria did not sink right away. In fact, she would remain above the surface for almost 11 hours, until finally, just after 10 AM on July 26, 1956, she capsized, before disappearing from view. Following the collision, A settlement fund for victims was created and contributed to by the Italian line and the Swedish-American line. The two lines also absorbed the cost and damages to their respective ships. This put an end to legal proceedings, with no official blame or criminal charges. The heavy fog of that night in 1956 was given as the main reason behind the collision, though other factors were subsequently noted through additional hearings or by experts in the field. These factors included Andrea Doria's officers not following proper radar procedures or use of plotting equipment, which left them unable to determine Stockholm's true course and speed. Andrea Doria not following the long-established rule of vessels approaching head-to-head, both turning to starboard, was also a key moment, one that only brought the two ships ever closer to one another. She was also deliberately speeding in heavy fog, in what is described online as an admittedly common practice on passenger liners. As Stockholm and Andrea Doria were experiencing different weather conditions immediately prior to the collision, it is stated that the officer in charge of Stockholm incorrectly assumed that his inability to see the other vessel was due to conditions other than fog, such as the other ship being a very small fishing vessel or a blacked-out warship on manoeuvres. He testified that he had no idea it was another passenger liner speeding through the fog. It has also been suggested that Stockholm's watch officer misread his radar, thinking that he was on a 15 nautical mile setting, when in reality, the radar may have been set for 5 nautical miles. As Andrea Doria's fuel tanks were half empty and not pumped with seawater ballast to stabilise the ship, this contributed to the ship's listing after the collision and the inability to use the portside lifeboats for evacuation. After repair, Stockholm would go on to have a career that spanned decades, with numerous alterations, name changes, owners and operators. It would be in 2020, under her new name of Astoria, where she would finally come to be laid up. After efforts to auction off the ship, she was eventually sold for scrap in 2025. As for Andrea Doria, lying at a depth of about 250 feet, became a popular dive site despite various hazards. It has been nicknamed the Mount Everest of wreck diving, because of the technical skills required. By the early 21st century, more than 15 divers had been killed exploring the Andrea Doria. The site was also considered a treasure trove, and many artifacts were recovered from the wreck. Frequent dives to the site also documented the deterioration of the ship, and its hull in particular. This, coupled with the strong ocean currents at the wreck site, is what makes the site a never more dangerous place to visit. It was announced that on July 25th, 2021, Andrea Doria's foghorn, which had been one of the ship's many artifacts to be raised and, in its case, restored, would be sounded once more at the New Jersey Maritime Museum, marking the 65th anniversary of her sinking.